We should be live. Hello and welcome, Just Alive family. I am your host, Melissa Krechler. I'm an identity coach and a spiritual teacher. Please like, share, follow, and engage with the show on your own social media platforms. We have accounts on just about every social media platform you can think of. Go check out the website at www.justalivetv.com. Today's episode is Believing in Yourself, Confidence and Self-Love. Our sponsor for today is Tori & Company, who does VA services. She has a link in the comments to go and get sorry, I'm blanking right now. She's got a link in the comments in the description of this video and podcast to go and download a virtual assistant checklist. And it is free for you to download a virtual assistant checklist, which will help you know what you are looking for when hiring a VA. So that is our sponsor. My guest host today to talk about believing in yourself, because we're talking all about confidence and self-love, is none other than Renee Storm. So Renee, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm very excited. I was getting ready all day. My name's Renee Storm, and I live in Wheeling, West Virginia. And ever since COVID, have been trying to be an entrepreneur, and I've been discovering many paths to be one. So I'm just happy to share some insight on how believing in yourself really helps get you through the process of becoming an entrepreneur, or really anything that you want to succeed in life. So happy to be here.
Becoming an entrepreneur is not easy. I'm doing actually an entire episode on that.
Oh.
In the future, I'll be doing an episode. It's going to be called Grateful Yet Frustrated Entrepreneurs, because trust me, we all need that episode.
Yes, it's true.
Tell us, what aspects, what have you tried in becoming an entrepreneur? What have you tried? Because becoming an entrepreneur you have to have some level of confidence, some level of belief in yourself that you're going to be able to create what it is that you're trying to create. And believing in yourself is like the biggest key for that. So what have you tried on your journey? What entrepreneur paths have you tried?
Yes. Well, let's go back to 2019, before all the chaos happened. In 2019, I'll even go back before that. I wasn't an entrepreneur. I was working for somebody, and I was actually traveling the country with a kids show, and it was all about fitness, and it was all about healthy habits. And I went into schools every single day, performed. I'm a singer and performer too. So it was a dream job for a little while. Then the touring got a little, the touring gets hard when you're gone all the time. So in 2019, before the pandemic really happened, I had this idea to start a Facebook group where, since I'm really big into fitness and everything, I was like, I'm going to talk about mindset every single day. I'm going to give motivation tools and tips every day. And then I'm going to do a workout for whoever is in the group every single day. And I'm going to challenge myself to see how long can I do this? How long can I withstand doing a workout every single day? So I challenged myself that December of 2019 to do that. And I had all these big ideas for the Facebook group. I was like, well, I'll give prizes for people that track their journaling and people that track their exercises. So I kind of started there on Facebook with this dream, but I was still in my job. So I was I didn't really know what I was doing. Let's just say that. So I kind of was just figuring out Facebook groups, how to chat with people through Messenger and all that. So I started there, but then after a few months of doing that, and I really did do a workout every single day, or I recorded it every single day, and I still have that group going. But then the pandemic happened, and unfortunately, the job that I was doing we we had to quit because we couldn't go into schools anymore. So there was a period of time where I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I still kept that group going, and kept going with that. Thoughts were to do like a membership or something, but that never really happened. But then I started into direct sales online with a wine company. Wine, I know it's clean wine though, so it's sort of like a little healthier. But then that's where I really learned like some great business like tools and models. I learned off I got to listen to people that are really successful in business. And I feel like with that business, I got to grow in a way that I wouldn't have if I just kind of did my own thing. So, but in the meantime, like I was also trying out some other stuff. I was trying to do my own kids program with my friend, and we became business partners, and we created a kids program where it was an hour-long kids class where we focused on mindset, and then we did like some just like art activities, and then some mindfulness activities, and then exercise. And then I've just been on this journey, like just trying to figure out like what really resonates with me for the last 2 or 3 years. So I don't know. I'm allowing myself to explore because I feel like I don't know exactly what it is I'm supposed to do, but I'm allowing myself to do that. And I think that's the hardest thing, because it's always changing. And I always feel like I'm in a lot of different places, but I try to just keep saying, well, you're figuring it out, and it's your own journey. That's the mindset that I have.
Those journeys, especially being a multi-passionate. So I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I am an identity coach with the Phoenix Identity Coaching. I am a spiritual teacher with the Butterfly Lotus Company. I make heat therapy bags. I make crystal jewelry. I do psychic intuitive readings. I'm a full-time mom of 2 at home, and then 2 are not at home, and a wife, and the talk show host now. And throughout each of the changes that I've made myself over the last 6 years of being an entrepreneur, it's as you make those changes, there's those second guessing, right? It's the second guessing. So whether you're an entrepreneur, for anybody watching, please comment, let us know what you do. But it doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a mother or a new mother, or for men, even when you're trying out new things and you're trying to make changes in your life, the biggest thing is believing in yourself. And when you're going through days or weeks or moments where it's not working, or you're trying to figure it out, or you're back and forth, there's a lot of coaches online right now that'll tell you, oh, you have to focus on one thing and one thing only, and do it this way or do it that way. And I never resonated with that. I fought that tooth and nail from the moment I started until today. And yet I've been confident through all of it, right? There's been moments where I've had self-doubt. There's been moments where I've been like, what is wrong with me? Like, why isn't this working? But then there's moments where it's like, does this matter enough? And this is my biggest thing, is what I'm trying to do, whether it's self-healing, whether it's self-love, whether it's changing my life, whether it's getting healthy, however that looks, whatever you're trying to do, is it worth it for me to give up?
Right.
Because when you start to second guess and question yourself, because you're in so many different locations and so many different things, you start to question, well, am I good enough? My biggest question through the last 6 years have been, is what I'm doing more important to me than feeling like I'm not good enough at this particular moment?
Yeah.
That was always my driving force, was constantly questioning, Does what I'm trying to create mean more to me than my stumbles along the way?
Yes.
That to me is one of the biggest forms of believing in yourself. We have a comment. I'm a mummy to 9, 5 I birthed, 1 in spirit, and 2 from another mother. I'm also a spiritual mentor healer. Wow, that
Wow.
9. That's quite a few. No
Yeah.
judgment, absolutely no judgment. I almost had 6 of my own, never mind the 2 bonus I almost had. So yeah,
Well,
I would have been high up there too.
yeah, I mean, well, I am, baby is on the way. First baby is on the way. And that's why I'm really trying. I wanted to have everything figured out before the baby came. And I was like, I'm gonna have it all figured out before this baby comes. And then it's okay. I have 4 weeks to go. So I'm about ready. But it's okay. I don't have it figured out, but I know that it's whatever path that I'm on. I mean, I'm not going to quit. I always feel like you only fail if you quit. And whatever I've started, I've got to keep going. I mean, and I'm sure, you have felt this when people you love, even your family all around you, your significant other, your parents, your friends are like, what are you doing? Like, what? Because like I'm actually a certified teacher. I could go into a school right now and get a job. And I mean, I could, get a conventional job anywhere, but it's like they don't understand your dream. So they're trying, like, I've had a lot of pushback, like for these last 2-3 years, like, what are you, like, they don't understand. And I think as long as you understand and that you can't give up on yourself, like, I mean, not that it's easy to keep going whenever they're saying that. I think I mean, you just got to push through that. And it's really hard sometimes. I mean, a lot of the times, actually all the time it's hard, but then, yeah, you're right. Like if you're doing what you're meant to be doing, like you've just got to keep going, I think.
Yeah. I think even when you don't know what you're meant to be doing, because a lot of people will start and they'll try and they're like, sorry, my hair's all wet.
That's okay.
They'll start and they'll try and they'll be like, what am I supposed to do? And they may not know your purpose. And it doesn't matter who you are. Believing in yourself isn't just for entrepreneurs. It isn't just for men or women. It's for everybody. Believing in yourself comes down to creating a commitment to yourself, of loving yourself, of being confident within yourself, knowing that no matter what you're trying to create or what you're trying to grow, that you're going to do your best. Now, whether you stumble along the way, those failures are stepping stones. Those are stepping stones that teach you, hey, it's not working this way, let's try another way. Or it's not working this way, let's take a step back and reevaluate. There are so many different ways to keep that trust with yourself and believe in yourself, because it does come down to trusting yourself. That's what believing in yourself is. It's trust. And if you can't trust yourself, how are you supposed to trust the universe, your partner, your children, your friends and family, your support systems? How are you supposed to be building those trustful connections if you don't trust yourself?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I don't know if you do something like, I mean, every morning I feel like it's easy to wake up in a negative state, and to have doubts, is normal. But I in the morning, I have to change my mindset, my mind frame. I get up and I either listen. I'm not as strict as I used to be, but in the beginning I was like, we've got to do this for 10 minutes, this for blah, blah, whatever. But I listen to affirmations on just not even, I am affirmations, and something, I just pull it up on YouTube and I listen to that while I'm getting ready. And then I even repeat it, especially on really hard days. I need longer. It's more of a meditation for me. And I really think that helps in the morning, is to get your mindset ready for the day, because you never know what's going to be thrown at you. And I really tried to throw out, like, I mean, all the Facebook and social media stuff that I do is just really try to help people with that too, is like, get up excited for the day somehow, whatever makes you happy, try to do that. And I think that helps with getting your mind ready to believe in yourself. So yeah. I don't know if you have any kind of tricks like that you do.
I'll start with this show. So I've said this on multiple episodes, and I will continue to say it until it's, no longer a relevant lesson, but I don't like to be on video. If I was to sit in front of my computer and say, okay, I need to record a video for one of my businesses. I need to sit in front of the computer and record the video. I'm going to sit here for 20, 30 minutes recording the same video over and over and over again because I've made one mistake, or I've done something wrong, or I don't like it. I don't like being on camera. I don't like having my photo taken. I don't like listening to my own voice. I don't like any of that. But I started a talk show. For most people, it would be like, how stupid is that, right? And I even said that, like, how stupid is that? I don't like to be on camera. I don't like to be on video. I don't like to hear my own voice, but I started a talk show that I have to show up to every day, Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So I'm promoting the show and show up live, not even pre-recorded, live on the show. So if I make any mistakes, if my cats jump, it doesn't matter, because I don't go back and for anybody watching or catching the replay, I don't go back and edit anything. This show is unedited completely. There's no editing. There's no reframing. What you see is what you get with the show. It is so authentic because I wanted it to be that way. But yeah, I had the confidence, right? I believed in myself that what I was trying to create, nobody's doing what I'm doing. I reached out to a marketing and advertising agency yesterday, and I said, and I had a moment of self-doubt, and I was really irritated. And I called my husband, like, whining, because every so often you got to be like, really? Like, I don't like this. And so I called this marketing agency, and I'm like, I have a new endeavor. I would like to spread it and get more attention for it and more viewers, because my goal with the show is to reach as many people as I can. I want this show to be the next Oprah Winfrey show. That's what I want for the show. And so I'm explaining my vision. Now, when I do the pre-screening interviews, you guys see the vision. You feel the vision because you want to be a part of the show. So this person's like, well, what's your budget? And I said, well, the show is brand new. The budget is based on sponsorship. And, it's not that high right now, but as it goes up, every episode will be sponsored. Every platform will be sponsored. The website, like there's a lot of sponsorship ability in there. And he's like, well, our clients pay like $4,000 to $5,000 a week. Learn how to do it yourself. And then when you get traction, then call me again. And I'm like, and wow. When I'm feeling attacked, my instinct is to lash out. And so I had to take a breath, and I said, you know what? I said, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. I will, I am doing 90% of it myself. I did hire a VA to do a bunch of the work in the back end, and she's great, but I am doing 90% of the work on my own, and I will continue. And I didn't say it, but I won't call them back because, one, they didn't see the vision. He's like, well, I've never heard of anyone doing anything that you're doing. And I said, exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
Society is now going into a streaming society, right? So my vision is I have a streaming talk show, not on TV, a streaming talk show. I have a streaming podcast, and I have a blog. So I'm doing everything that people are now gravitating towards.
Right.
Yeah. So the show will be seen, heard, and read on multiple platforms. Nobody else is doing that. As far as I know, nobody else is doing that. I am a pillar for the show with this show. And for me, giving people this platform to feel confident, to have episodes like today's episode is one of those ones that it's changing people's lives. If we even connect with a handful of people who take away from this video and go, I can put some of those into place to believe in myself and start building that trust. That's the purpose of the show.
Yeah.
And that means more to me than not showing up because I feel awkward.
Right. Because you're on a mission, and
exactly,
you have to show up. And it's like on the days when you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. You have that mission. You have that why. I guess the why is the big, buzzword right now, for why you're going to show up. But once you do, I feel like every time I get on camera, like to do a workout or something, and I didn't want to do it, I'm like, oh, I know why I was here to do this. Yeah. So yeah.
I wanted to know.
What was that?
Today, I'm relaxing in bed after I eat. I was relaxing in bed after I had lunch, and I'm like reading and falling asleep. And I'm like, if I go to bed now, then I'm not going to be up for the show. I'm just going to be angry. So then I went and I had a shower. I got ready. I'm like, okay, Melissa, you need to show up. Like this is your time. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to say to yourself, I've got this, get your ass in gear and get it done. Yes. Right? Whether it's perfect, whether it's imperfect, whatever ends up happening, you can say to yourself, I took that initiative. I took those steps. I did the thing. You're being a first-time mom. That comes with a lot of fear and a lot of doubt and like, do I have this? Do I know what I'm doing?
Yeah. Can I do this? I'm like, what if I can't provide for her? And I'm like, what if I can't run my businesses whenever I'm like trying to care for this baby? There's so many questions, but then, you have to talk yourself down. Like you have to be like, no, it's going to be okay. Millions of other people have done this and it's going to be okay. And I really do think you gotta talk yourself into it or out of it, whatever you're going through sometimes. And I think a good way to do that, I actually did this today. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but went to the baby doctor today, and I was kind of nervous because I don't like everything that goes on there, and I was kind of psyching myself out. I was like, oh, I'm scared. Like I was telling my husband, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then like when it got time to do the exam thing, I was like, listen, just take a breath and then it's going to be okay. So I just feel like sometimes you do have to just stop yourself and just take a breath, because you just got to pause. You just got to like chill out. And I find myself doing that a lot, especially during pregnancy, because emotions are high, very, very high. Yeah. And I felt the same as you today. In the mornings on Thursday, I go to a networking meeting early in the morning. So I already was like, I don't want to get up in the morning, but I know I got to go network. And then had the appointment, and then I did take a nap after all that. And I was like, you got to get yourself together. You got to get yourself together. I took a shower too, got my hair all ready, and I was like, you're going to go do this, and you're going to just speak from your heart and it's going to all be okay. So yeah. I feel like it is hard to be your own personal coach sometimes, but I think it's necessary to build that mindset, to be that coach for yourself. Because even when you don't have somebody to call upon, like, I could probably call my mom and be like, give me some confidence, but I feel like coming from yourself and being your own cheerleader, like that's what really drives you.
And for my own clients, right? It's, I can tell you what to do. I can tell you how to feel. I can tell you what steps to take. I can tell you all of that, but I don't. What I do is I say, what do you want to do? What do you feel? Because I can tell you to do it. And even if you find somebody, whether it's a coach, whether it be a friend, a family member, who's going to tell you what to do step by step, you still have to make the choice to do it.
Yes.
That's empowering. So I'm a smoker, and for 2 years, I quit smoking. And yes, I'm back a smoker. I know, bad, but whatever. This is when I was in my early 20s, and I quit smoking for almost 2 years. And the way that I quit smoking was cold turkey. And people are like, how, right? Because I had been smoking for quite a long time by that point as well. And they're like, I would go to work, or I would go to school because I was going to an adult education center. I had dropped out of high school. So I went back to school. I had my son, and I go and I do everything that I did before. So I walked to school. I dropped my son off, walked to school because he was down the street. And at every one of these points, I would be having a cigarette. And then lunch break, in between classes, I would go outside, and I would go outside with all of my smokers. And they'd be like, Melissa, do you want a cigarette? And I'm like, no, I don't have any. And they're like, well, do you want one? And I said, no, I'm quitting. And I would sit there for a moment, and I would feel into that, because instinctually it's like, okay, the habit's there. I want one.
Oh yeah.
And I would stop myself, and I would feel so empowered saying no and being confident enough to say no and sticking to it. That made me quit more than anything, was the power behind it, right? Being the one to make that decision, to say, no, it's okay, I don't want one. And every day, one of the other things while you were talking that I wanted to mention, one of the first trainings I do with my clients is in a mirror. I want you to stand in front of the mirror, and I want you to look at, don't even say anything. I want you to look at the person, really look at the person in the mirror, look in their eyes, look at them, and ask yourself what comes to mind when you look at that person. What do you see? Yes. Write it down, say it out loud, whatever it is. And I want you to consciously think about what you're actually saying or thinking about yourself, because we're our biggest critics.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The hugest critics. And when you're doing that, think about the way that you're talking to yourself. Think about the way that you're assuming. You can even think about how other people see you. Doesn't matter. But if you think that other people see you a certain way, that's your thinking. It's not theirs. It's your thinking. So looking in a mirror and actually connecting to yourself in a mirror and saying, who is this person looking back at me? What does she look like? What is he thinking? What does this person feel? Whatever gender or however you identify, what do you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror? And then write it down and re-look at it and look at how you talk about yourself. That's step one. Step one is understanding how you talk about yourself. That's the first way to change it and to create that belief and trust in yourself. Because if you're negative talking yourself, that means that you're not full of self-love. That means that you're not grateful for yourself. There are things about myself that I don't like. My teeth aren't white. I have rosacea. I have facial hair now. I'm 220 pounds. Like, there's things about myself that I don't like. Do I hate them? No, because I know where they're coming from. I smoke, so of course my teeth aren't going to be white. I drink Pepsi, my teeth aren't going to be white. I eat whatever I want, whenever I want, which is why I'm overweight. And I know it creates that. And if I turned around and said, okay, I really do want to lose the weight, I want to get healthy, then I would make those choices. I'm not ready to make those choices. But again, I acknowledge that about myself. So the things even that I don't like, I still love because they're still part of me.
Yeah.
And they don't, what I look like on the exterior doesn't reflect who I am on the interior.
Right.
right? That does my looks and my gender and who I am in your vision is not who I am at my core. And that's what people mistake about identity. I'm not a wife and mother. That's not my identity. Those are titles, but they're not my identity. There's so many different complex mindset situations behind believing in yourself that you get lost so easy. So easy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about whenever you were talking about the mirror, what I tell the people that do my workouts and everything, like, and that I guess are following me on whatever social media. I used to look in the mirror and do the same thing. Like, I'd be like, oh, your nose is so big. Ew, why are you wearing that? You look fat, I mean, I would say that to myself, like horrible things, like your hair's so frizzy and ugly. And I mean, I would say the most horrendous things like that. People would never say that to myself, but I was saying that to myself. And once I had to make that a switch. I was, conscious of what I was saying. I don't know what I feel like when I started Ironman training, triathlon training. And that really, I had to really focus and hone in on mindset, because I was never going to get through a full race if I didn't change that. And I feel like I started making that change back in 2010 or whatever. I was like mid 20s or whatever. And I started changing that story that I told myself in the mirror. And I try to share that with everybody too, because it's like, it's very important. You cannot look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm ugly, or I can't do that. I mean, you just can't feed those things to yourself, that negative talk, because then you're going to believe it. And you want to believe, you can't believe those things to do what you want. I don't know how else to say, to be successful, I guess. You can't be telling yourself that. Or not even be successful, but like just to have the courage to go do the things that you want and need to do for the day. So yeah, I think self-talk is very, very, very important. And you've got to tell yourself what you want to hear. I mean, I don't know.
Perception is huge as well. So I question everybody watching or again, listening or catching the replay. Perception is going to be the key, right? Your perception and what you believe about yourself, the way you see yourself. But I challenge you to do this. What do you find beautiful? So even for yourself, what do you think when I tell you beauty, what's the first thing you think of?
I think of flowers.
Flowers, right? Nature. There are so many things. A child laughing.
Yeah.
Right. And beauty is a subjective thing. It's not necessarily looks. Water, right. Sitting on a lake, sitting at the edge of a lake on a deck and the sunset is going down. Or looking at a lake and having it just completely calm. Or even rippling. It's suggestive. It's subjective, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
You can find inanimate objects beautiful. They don't care. They don't.
Right.
They don't care whether you find them beautiful. They are. Flowers don't care whether we find them beautiful. Yeah, okay, if you do positive talk to plants, it definitely makes a change. I'm not disagreeing with that. So don't come for me on that one. But beauty is subjective. It's a thought, it's a belief, it's a feeling. It's looking at something and finding joy in it. Beauty is whatever you believe it to be. A line on a wall could be beautiful to the right person.
Yeah.
It's subjective. And the same goes with believing in yourself. Believing in yourself doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter about any of that. It's how you feel about yourself. It's how you subjectively look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm amazing. You know, it's acknowledging and loving yourself in spite of, or even because of your faults. I am vindictive and volatile. Absolutely. And I've said that on multiple. I can be vindictive and volatile. I control it, but I love that part of myself. It's my shadow side. But it protects me. If I ever needed to, I will, you know, like I will defend myself. Right. And if I didn't have that capability, I would be hiding in a corner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be sitting here. Right. It is all subjective. Beauty is subjective. Strength is subjective. Self-love is subjective. You have to be able to see it within yourself. Nobody else is going to make you. Okay. I'll backtrack for that. You can be made to feel beautiful by somebody else. But unless you feel it for yourself, that feeling is fleeting, and then you will rely on another person to support your needs, and you shouldn't have to.
Yes. I definitely agree with that. I mean, people, when I was talking that negative talk all the time, you know, people would be like, what are you talking about? You're beautiful, or whatever, or you know, things like that. And it's like, yes, that's great. I'm glad you're saying that about me, but I don't believe it. And I think that, yeah, people do get very, very hooked on those good compliments that everybody else says, but we have to say it to ourselves too. We have to compliment ourselves.
I have a friend, and this friend is, it's not just her, it's her family as well. I love them, absolutely love them. And I'm not saying that to discount what I have to say. I truly love them. They're family. And they have they have an unhealthy addiction with external appearance.
Okay.
But their internal is damaged. Very much so. To the point where this person is one of the most beautiful people I have ever met, inside and out. And I absolutely adore her. And you compliment her, and it makes her not like herself even more.
Oh.
Right. And it's shocking how beauty on the outside and beauty on the inside doesn't even know that it's beautiful, because of not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, not believing in themselves, not creating that trust and self-love within themselves. Everything that we do begins within ourselves. And it's traumatizing to see that.
It's almost like, well, where did that come from? I guess from, we learn things in childhood, I guess, or, you know, we get accustomed to things. I don't know exactly where that comes from. And I'm always interested in, I know that a lot of people that I follow, you know, say, go back to when you're a child, like it's things like that start when you're a child. You're thinking, and then, you know, we're dreamers when we're children, and then we get to a certain age, then we stop. Like what happened back in childhood? And I often think about that too. I mean, just I really haven't dived too deep into it, but you know,
I have.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I have.
Yeah.
So I created this process called the 7 mindset pillars. And what it is that we have 7, doesn't matter who you are, you have 7 major pillars.
Okay.
And they are self, spirituality, whether you're an atheist, spiritual, religious, doesn't matter. Spirituality is still a pillar because you have beliefs in it, right? And I always have to fix that one. So self, spirituality, our romantic relationships, our families, our friends, our finances, and our careers.
Okay.
Those are your 7 most important pillars in your life. Now, in those pillars, you've created belief systems. And those belief systems are created based on your experiences, your peers, your family, your everything that you go through from the time that you're born until you realize about the 7 pillars. You create these belief systems, and negative and positive experiences in your life will contribute to these beliefs. And you create all these beliefs. And as you get older, you don't lose. What was the word that you used? When we're kids, we dream, right? You don't lose that. It's taught out of you.
Yeah.
We are taught it's coincidence, it's imagination, it's fiction, it's not real. We're taught that we can't be a beautiful artist because artists are starving. We are taught that beauty is on the outside, not what's on the inside. And no matter how great we are as parents and how much we try to teach our children that, the outside world, society tells us beauty is whatever society tells us it is. And that's not okay. You look at Ashley Graham, who is the first, I don't want to say the first, I don't know for sure. I don't want to make assumptions, but she's a plus size model and a motivational speaker about being plus size models, right? And now we're trying to change and we're trying to be more inclusive and say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? You find beauty in whatever shape, size, color, wave, or form. It doesn't matter. As children, we don't see that. We don't see beauty as a definition. We see what makes us happy. We see what makes us not happy. We experience things in a different way. As we build those pillars, though, and as we fill those pillars with our beliefs, we start making decisions based on what beliefs are in those pillars. So if let's talk about self, because we're talking about believing in yourself. Yeah. If you believe that you're not worthy and that you're not beautiful, you're going to portray that. That's what you're going to put into the universe. That's what you're going to put into yourself, because that is in your core belief system. Right? What I do as an identity coach, and this isn't a promotion, this is just to validate my knowledge, is that I go in and I say, okay, what beliefs do you have in here? I have a slight promotion, so I apologize, but you can't unless you ask.
Okay, I want to know.
I have a 13-month program in a Phoenix identity. I have a 13-month program. And that program takes you through every single one of those pillars and identifies all the beliefs that you have, which of beliefs are yours, which ones align with you, which ones don't align with you. When you're not happy, and it doesn't matter who you are, when you're not happy, there is a belief that's not aligned to what you want. You're not living for you. You're living for somebody else. If your relationship is not working, it's because in your mind, it is not working. There is something going on. Now, the caveat to all of this is if you're being abused, if you are, and that's physical, mental, emotional. Abuse is abuse. That's a given. They're 85% of our life, though. 85% of our reality is based on our own mindset. Yeah. 15% of our reality is out of our control. That's if you got hit by a car, if this person smacked you across the face, and I'm going to say negative ones, right? If you get pregnant, if you don't get pregnant, it's out of your control. You can contribute to it, but it's still technically out of your control, right? But 85% of your life is controlled by your own beliefs. You create that reality. If you don't feel like you're deserving of a healthy, happy relationship, you will continue to create a cycle of abusive relationships because you believe it, because you believe you're not worthy. You believe that you're not beautiful. And in essence, and I will never, and I mean never, victim shame. So again, caveat to that, this is not a victim shame. This is a perception, is that women who cycle into abusive relationships are putting themselves into that situation because they don't believe they're worthy. Mm-hmm. Right? And because that other person has manipulated them, right? When you feel unworthy and when your mentality and your mindset is unaligned to who you are at your core, you are easily suggestive. So if you're easily manipulated, you're easy, right? That's people pleasing. That's giving into and making sure that everybody else has what they want over what you need and want. It's right. So it's not saying that it's the victim's fault, because it's not. You can't control whether or not somebody's going to hit you. You can't control whether somebody is going to abuse you in any shape, way, or form, but you can control whether you allow it to continue.
Right.
That's the difference. Right. And becoming confident in who you are, believing in yourself, opens doors to the most ridiculous things.
Do you like, after you go through that program and you realize all that, I mean, what is the next? I mean, I know you probably don't want to share everything, but what's the next step to changing that? Like, how do you change a lifetime of those beliefs?
So that is my most in-depth program.
Okay.
And you don't need me once that program's done. Every single, whether you work for me, work with me, depending on where you are in your mentality, right? Wherever you are in your mindset, I've had clients start with me and within 3 months, they don't need me anymore.
Wow.
They've continued for about a month or two just to have that added support, but they didn't need me anymore. Every one of my programs, I don't want you to need me. I want you to be able to take what I teach you and reclaim who you are, your power, your identity, your strength, your self-love. And I want you to go out into the world and be in charge of your life in every aspect. And so it's reprogramming those thoughts, right? And when somebody comes to me, it's like, okay, you believe that you're not worthy. Why is that? Where is that? Where did that lesson come from? What belief created, what experience created that lesson? Was it something your teacher said? Was it something your parents said? Was it an ex-boyfriend? Where did that come from? And we work back from that, because your beliefs can either be something, so beliefs, you can create a belief because it's needed at that time, right? You can create a belief that's meant to protect you at that moment. And in that moment, it's great.
Right.
But eventually down that road, that belief is no longer valid and it needs to be changed. But because people don't know how to identify those beliefs or how to change those beliefs, they continue, right? As a child, we create people pleasing because that's what we're taught. We have to please our parents or we get punished. We have to please our teachers, otherwise we get detention. We have to follow these strict rules and regulations as children, otherwise we're penalized, right? So people pleasing, right, especially in some cultures, people pleasing is like top of the line. Is you have to then recreate that belief. What am I doing? Am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for somebody else? Do I agree with this belief or not? And it's just recreating that. Do I agree with it or not? Do I enjoy it or not? Is this for me? Do I want to keep it or do I want to get rid of it? So mindset is very complex.
Yeah, it is.
But at the same time, once you get the concept, it's really just about believing in yourself, having the courage and the confidence to stick with it and say, I got this.
Yep.
That's what it is. And that's why this episode is so important, because believing in yourself is the key to unlocking amazing realities.
Yeah. And I was just listening to a podcast. I forget what it was, but so many people, we run on autopilot. We don't even know what we're doing half the time, because we're just so used to doing whatever those beliefs were. We just keep going and going until, something, sometimes something's got to give, and then you just get sick of whatever's happening, I feel like, and then something goes off. I don't, and then, I think it would be very helpful to have a coach to coach you through those times. But I'm just looking back at like how I kind of woke up and everything, but I coached myself. But I still need like outside assistance sometimes. I feel like we all do.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was just mentioning how everybody's on autopilot, and until you become conscious with what you're actually doing, you're not going to make that change to even be happy, or to even live the life that you want to live.
It's surviving instead of thriving, right? You're surviving.
Yes.
In a world that was created for you.
Yes.
You're not thriving in a world that you created.
Right.
That's the difference.
And it's hard to do. It is hard to do, especially with society. Yeah.
Especially the positivity movement and cancel culture. They're horrible for it. The positivity movement teaches you how to be positive in the moment. It doesn't teach you how to fix anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't teach you how to build anything lasting, other than positivity movement is bypassing. That's literally what the positivity movement, it's bypassing. It is bypassing knowledge. It's bypassing growth. It's bypassing changing anything. And I don't know how many relationships I've seen fail because people are like, I don't want to talk about it. It's negative. I don't want to deal with that. It's negative. You're toxic. There is a difference between toxicity, because that's what you believe is toxic, versus somebody actually being toxic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference. But because the positivity movement has said, be positive, think positive, remove anybody who's negative, you don't learn that.
Yeah. There, even if you are positive, you still have to talk about real life problems. Like I run into that with my, just my husband. Like we get into conversations that I really don't want to talk about, but we have to, because I don't want to talk about our finances all the time and talk about how maybe we don't have enough money to do this, but we have to. It's just life.
Oh yes.
But
just wait. Then it's like, so my children are going on 8, 13, 18, and 20. That's how old my 4 are this year. And when my husband comes home and I have to go, I have to talk to you about what the 13-year-old did today. Right. And it's like, she's gotten it. I have had to have some conversations that I really did not want to have with my husband about my daughter, that just, no, like the conversations that you don't think you're going to ever have, you have to have. But it's learning and growing, right? And I have to have those conversations to not only help her, but help my husband help her. Right? Because you don't want him to be like, okay, well, no, and then ruin something for her. Or, there's just, everything is so subjective. It's so based on beliefs. And it's hard to maneuver through life when you really don't know. Now, you can figure it out on your own. There are a lot of people who can figure out their mindset on their own. I caution you to be careful who you follow. That is the only thing. Right now, there are so many coaches out there who say that they know, but they'll teach you everybody else's system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I purposely do not follow any other coaches. I do, let me reword that. I do, but I don't look through their content ever. Okay. And the reason is because I want all of my content to be authentic, to be original, and to showcase my knowledge, right? I wanted to be the creator of my own business. I've gone to business coaches, and I can tell you that while every one of them taught me something, I am not putting any one of their practices into place because none of it worked for me.
Wow.
Right there, you have to be able to figure out my number one rule, no matter what my business is. My number one rule is you have to follow your dream, your path, your acknowledgement. I'm the only show that I am absolutely and utterly 100%, this is how it has to be, is this. It's right. Yours. Because this show has a purpose. It has an outline. This is what the show has to be. But in my coaching business, it's all, what do you want to do? What do you feel like, right? Everything that I do, spiritual teaching, coaching, readings, there's all of that because you have to make that decision. You're in control of your life.
Yes. I definitely agree with that. I mean, I do listen to a lot of business coaches and a lot of podcasts who, like what we first started talking about, who say you have to choose one thing and one thing only. And I never resonated with that either. And I still don't. And I was like, but this is wrong of me to feel like this because they're saying, and because they're so successful, like maybe I should follow that path. And then I'm like, no, that doesn't resonate with me. And I think I feel like even though, I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I know in my heart what I'm supposed to be doing. So as long as I'm following that, I think it's okay, I guess.
And I thought that as well. And now they're right in a sense of focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Not do only one thing, just focus on one thing at a time. I flitted back and forth in my businesses. They weren't successful because here's the mindset coaching, here's the identity coaching, here's this, here's that. I rebranded. Okay. I was getting ready for yesterday's episode, and I'm doing all the content. I'm getting the graphic done, and I sponsored yesterday's episode. And an hour before the show, I turned around and decided to rebrand my coaching company.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I rebranded it, and it was, I did it. I decided, I sent it out. I did it. It's done. Right. But it's all about, like, I knew that's what I needed to do. Right. Yeah. I've put, for the most part, it's not that I'm not going to accept clients, but I'm not promoting my other businesses right now, other than sponsoring the show. I'm not promoting them. I'm not actively marketing them right now. They're there, and they're sitting and they're waiting because I am focusing on one thing at a time. I had to, with the amount of messages and pre-screening interviews and everything else that I'm doing to try to set up the show for success, that takes all of my time right now. Right. So that is still on hold, but so it is your mentality and believing in yourself. Focus on one thing at a time. And that's where I was going with that, is focusing on one thing at a time too, is when it comes to your mentality, if you want to create a healthy outlook on your weight, right? Let's just say that one, right? Your weight, your nutrition. If I turn around tomorrow and I said, I want to get healthy, I'm not going to quit smoking and drinking Pepsi at the same damn time, because I'm setting myself up for failure.
Yes.
Right? Because if I focused on one of them and said, okay, I'm going to quit drinking Pepsi first, and then I have smoking as like an outlet for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't overwhelm your mindset either, right? You can't try to do all of those changes at once. It's
Yes.
taking time. And as you start to build that trust in yourself, build that self-love and the confidence, right? You're going to be tested. It's something that would normally trigger you is going to come in and say, hey, are you really following through with this? How's it going? Do we need to do, like, what's going on, right? Your life will test you. And every time that it tests you, you get the choice to say, okay, I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling down. I'm feeling unhappy. I'm feeling unworthy. Okay. What's the next step? You get to choose how long you feel into that moment. And then you get to choose to change it.
Yes.
That's where you start believing in yourself. That's where you start creating the confidence and the courage and the self-love, is saying, okay, I got this. I'm allowed to feel sad. I'm allowed to feel unworthy. I'm allowed to have moments of doubt. I had it yesterday. I'm a freaking mindset expert, and I had it yesterday, called my husband whining, right? But he's like, honey, you got to stop. And I said, I am allowed to vent. And I was literally, I turned around and I said, I am allowed to vent. I'm venting to you. I am frustrated right now. That bothered me. It triggered me. Let me vent, and then I'm good to go. And I release it.
Yes.
I acknowledge it. I express it. I make a choice, and I release it. And I say, this isn't going to stop me. One person's opinion is not going to stop my progress. It's not going to stop me from believing in what I'm doing.
I love that. Yeah.
And you make that choice.
Yeah, you have to release. You can't keep it all bottled up. It's not good for anybody. I feel this. I've been having those moments too, where I've released a lot.
And however that looks.
What was that?
I said, however that looks. How do you release those emotions as they come?
I mean, I complain. I cry. I, sometimes scream or, I let out energy. I go for a walk. I just try not to, I put down my phone, no, you cannot be on your phone anymore. You can't be working. Just go take a walk. Or mostly recently it's been crying though. Just a lot of emotions.
But that is
a pregnancy. Yeah.
My husband and I will fight. We'll get into a fight, and not like a physical altercation or anything along those lines, but I'll be like, I don't like you right now. And he'll be like, well, I don't like you right now. And we get into like this rip roaring fight. Right. And then after I'll be like, I love you. Yeah. I'm a very emotional person, and I need an outlet, whether that's my happy place is driving in my car with the wind, with the sound as high as it can be, my horrible voice singing at the top of my lungs, and I am either screaming, crying, road rage, whatever. And then when I'm done, I'm like, you have to be able to express. For anybody watching, anybody catching the replay, if you've ever felt intense anger, and I mean intense anger, you are drained. It comes, you release it, it goes, right? But you're drained after. That negative self-talk is that anger, right? And it's like, it builds positivity movement, ignore negativity. And I'm going to say this again, ignore negativity, right? That it doesn't go anywhere. If you don't acknowledge and express it, it doesn't go anywhere. It builds. And you think about anything. You think about a volcano. You've put a cap on a volcano, and you just keep putting lava into that volcano, and you just keep throwing it in there. Eventually, you're going to start having cracks, and that lava is going to go everywhere. Right. And it's going to destroy everything in its path. Negativity is the same way. If you keep pushing it down, it's eventually going to bubble in. You could be having negative thoughts about your relationship. If you ignore that and don't process and express that and work through it, it's then going to leak out into yourself. It's going to leak out into your business. It will leak out to every other aspect of your pillars.
Yeah.
It's like an infection.
You're right. You're very right. I mean, any anytime that I keep anything bottled up, it's never, I know it's never good. And I know I try to, like my husband, I feel like my husband just doesn't like to talk about emotions and everything. And I can tell like something's stewing in there. And I try to be like, listen, you can talk to me, like, what's going on, and then I feel like sometimes you got to help people get it out too. So if you see that, but um, yeah, it's definitely good to get those negative feelings out because we all have them, and we can't be Miss Sunshine and Rainbows. And that's actually, that made me think. I At first I kind of like the positivity thing, like I wanted to just be all sunshine and rainbows, and then I was like, well, you know what though, this isn't real, this isn't authentic. I need to show people that it's okay to cry sometimes, it's okay to get down on yourself, and to like to tell them what you're going through, especially I'm really thinking about social media because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and I want people to know about my life. I don't need to tell them everything, but I mean, I want to be authentic, I guess. And I know, I mean, like some people I don't agree with that, but I think there is a movement out there where people are being more authentic. I mean, at least from what I've seen. So I like that.
I created the show and it's authentic, right?
Yes.
It's authenticity. And one of the main things we highlight on the show is experience, right? We highlight real topics, and real topics come with struggles. So every episode will highlight some sort of struggle and how to maneuver through it and what it means. And it's just this, it's self-development, personal development, growth, self-love. We should be promoting that as a society. Now, when you talk about social media and expressing, right? I did an episode called The Positivity Movement and Cancel Culture, and I hate it. And we did that episode to showcase that positivity movement and cancel culture are creating a fake humanity.
Yeah.
When the positivity movement hit, I was known as positivity coach. And then I went to the negative mindset coach. And I really wanted to showcase the negative struggles that people went through and how to work through it in a positive way, right? And transform it, because you can transform any negative into a positive.
Oh yeah.
Any one of them. I will guarantee you that. And to turn around and you think about children, okay? And I'm going to highlight this. Social media is like having a child. We're teaching other people on social media how to behave, how to be successful, how to get rich, how to be confident, how to be cool, how to be beautiful, all of this, right? I will cry in front of my children. And I've had parents tell me that they won't. And I'm like, I will cry in front of my children. I will curse in front of my children. I will argue with my husband in front of my children. I will fight with my husband in front of my children. I will admit that I'm wrong in front of my children. I talk to my children about finances. I talk to them about all of the heavy stuff, because if I don't teach them that all of these things are natural, that everybody struggles, that everybody feels down, that everybody has issues, they're going to think that life is perfect and that life is easy. And then when they become adults and they have their first real experience of negativity, bullying, all of this stuff, I haven't fully not coddled, but I haven't put them in a bubble. I've let them experience by seeing me. My mom can handle this. You know what I mean? My mom, somebody hurt my mom's feelings the other day. She cried and she was upset, but she stood up and she said, no, I'm okay. I taught them power, individual personal power. And as social media, as influencers, as, whoever's on social media, these children, these young girls, these young teens, young boys are looking up to us and saying, how can I be better? How can I heal? How can I feel? Children these days don't have coping skills. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to, they assume you just either do or don't, because that's what social media shows them.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
No.
It's a process, right? You need to learn how to cope with negativity. You need to learn COVID. Oh my goodness. And I don't talk about COVID on the show. We're not talking about COVID for that specific reason. I am going to just use it as an example. Positivity movement was on for what, 3 years before COVID, 5 years before COVID. So you've got all this whole group of people who are think positive, be positive, do positive. Rid yourself of all negativity, right? It's just like this zen location, right? We're just going to rid the world of positivity or negativity. COVID hit. You don't have a choice now. You can't ignore people losing their jobs. You can't ignore people getting sick and dying. You can't ignore all of the bullshit that came with COVID, right? It's like politics, religion, Ukraine and Russia being in war right now. You can't ignore negativity. At some time in your life, it's going to smack you in the face and say, hi, I'm here. You can't avoid me any longer. COVID taught us that. The positivity movement does not work.
Yeah.
You can be, I'm one of the most positive people you can meet. Do I bitch and complain? Absolutely. Do I rant and rave? Absolutely. Am I rude at times when it's called for? Absolutely. Do I deal and talk to negative people? Absolutely. I love negativity. I love negativity in the sense that negativity is the catalyst to positive growth.
Oh, I like that.
I coined that. That's my own phrase. So we're just going to, negativity is the catalyst to positive growth. If you don't experience negativity, you don't know to grow. You don't know what to learn. You don't know how to change. You stay stagnant and stale without it.
You're right. I mean, just like you said before, every failure is a stepping stone. So you have to experience some sort of negativity to experience the good things.
And there is not a single person in this world. There are 3 guarantees in life: taxes, death, negativity.
Yeah.
You're not going to get away. It doesn't matter how great they look on social media. It doesn't matter how perfect you think their life is. Everybody has negativity, trauma, unhappiness, self-doubt, lack of everybody's experienced it in one way or another. You are not better or worse off than any single person in this world.
Yeah.
All have to experience. That's the purpose of life.
You just said trauma. And I think that, we can't really say what is traumatic for every single person goes through trauma differently. And I think trauma is how you experience something you're going through. And I mean, I may have had some traumatic experiences that people are like, that's not traumatic. That's not worse than what I'm going through or whatever like that. But everybody goes through things differently.
That's emotional shaming. Our society has created emotional shaming where you will shame other people because you don't believe their emotional reaction to something is validated. That is emotional. Situational shaming is when you say to somebody, let's say I watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I don't watch the show very often, if ever, but for some reason it came up on my news feed. It was one of the premieres, and Kourtney Kardashian says, I am grateful. I have a lot to be grateful for, but I'm not happy. And I'm like, hi, I'm here. That's what I do. And I'm sitting there and I watched that episode like, what in the hell do you have to be unhappy for?
Right.
You're not being cheated on. You've got money, you've got the life, you've got the businesses. Everybody will situationally shame people when they think their life is better than theirs.
Yeah.
We need to just encourage other people to feel what they're feeling and to change it.
Yeah, not judge. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I mean, we're all going through something. We don't know how we're feeling, how that other person is feeling, unless you're in that person's body.
Yep. Everybody's going to be different. Everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess we should run an hour and 50 minutes into the show, which is fine. This is what I want, right? The back and forth conversation, the power topics, the passion topics. So for anybody watching, let us know if you want to connect to myself or Renee, please do so. Our contact information is in the description. Our sponsor today, of course, was Tori & Company, who has a free virtual checklist to download if you want to go and take that out of the description as well. Anything you'd like to add before we say goodbye?
Just thank you. And I'm happy to have this opportunity and to hopefully connect with some new people. I love to just chat or, talk. I love talking about mindset, and I love just, meeting new people. So thank you for this experience.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming on the show. We always appreciate our co-host. It makes a difference when you come on and have a conversation with somebody who gets it, and who, even if it's a back and forth, even if we don't agree on a topic, it's nice to have that conversation on a passion topic. And that's definitely what today was.
Yes.
So for anybody watching, for anybody joining, catching the replay, please like, follow, share, and subscribe to our channels, to our social media accounts, or to our newsletter. If you would like to be a co-host on the show, if you have a topic that you want to see featured, or you would like to get involved and sponsor the show, please absolutely reach out to me. My inbox is always open. I am Melissa Krechler. I'm an identity coach and a spiritual teacher, and I am your grateful host of this show. And please say goodbye to my co-host today, Renee Storm. It has been amazing. Give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
Everyone else, I will talk to you on the next one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.